me for 2 years. And he already had, when I came here, more than 2 years.
I don't know why you used it. I guess that's my sister was like that.
Hi everyone, we're gonna start. The food is here before Roy goes. Roy, thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
You picked one out from way back.
Yeah.
My pleasure. What a need.
Gracias.
Where are you going, Roy?
Yeah.
Was it something I said?
So we're gonna begin now. I'm going to be speaking in Spanish, and my co-worker here, young leader, will be translating everything I say in Spanish into English. Okay? So vamos a comenzar. Muchas gracias a todos por estar aquí. Yo hablaré en español, mi compañera va a traducir en inglés. Como mencioné hace rato, estamos muy agradecidas que ya llegó la comida y pueden comer. Gracias a Roy, él nos pudo ayudar con donar la comida hoy.
Okay, so we're going to start. Good morning, everyone. We're going to start eating first. A big thank you to Roy for bringing us.
Entonces, hoy estamos aquí celebrando, como ya saben, el día de Martin Luther King Jr. Estamos celebrando el impacto que Martin Luther King Jr. tuvo en la sociedad, ¿verdad? Gracias a él y su justicia social. Pudimos combatir muchas luchas que tuvimos en nuestros tiempos. Entonces tenemos acá como una actividad un largo plazo de años que vamos a llenar juntos. Todos ustedes van a poder contribuir a esta línea de años.
So today we'll be celebrating MLK thanks to all his hard work and social justice.
Can we hear?
Here we have
One speaker at a
a
time.
social justice timeline where we'll put events and you could put like special events from your life.
I know. But thank you for coming.
Entonces, vamos a comenzar, vamos a continuar la música, vamos a tener la opción para que ustedes puedan escoger qué quieren escuchar. Párense por favor y disfruten de la comida y ya después pronto comenzamos con las actividades. Gracias.
Okay, so we're gonna start with the food. We're gonna put the music on, and you have the option to say what music you want us to play. So if everybody could just stand up and get food.
We can't hear you.
So we're gonna start with food, and we'll be playing music, and you have the option to tell us what music you want us to play. So if everybody can get up and get food, we're gonna start there, and then after we'll start with activities.
All right, thank you guys. On top of your tables, I put some historical moments. These moments will be going up on the timeline. If you guys could just read them over, the youth and the Chelsea Collaborative work on identifying some moments for social justice in the U.S. And so some of them also reflect some things that were going on in the world. So take a few minutes to just read those over and start thinking about, I think there's also a year attached. Start thinking about what those things what those events or moments, how they impacted your life potentially, or society that we have today, and the laws and system that we have in place today. Okay, so he puesto encima de sus mesas momentos bien importantes que han pasado en la historia de los Estados Unidos. Empiecen a leer esos momentos. El año donde sucedió ese evento está en el papel. So, empiecen a pensar cómo impactó ese momento su vida, o qué usted estaba haciendo en ese año, ¿verdad? ¿Dónde estaba? ¿Estaba aquí? ¿Estaba en otro país? Esa ley que pasó en los Estados Unidos sí llegó a afectar a las condiciones en su país. So I also mentioned that if you can also try to go back in time and put yourself into that year, what were you doing around that time? What was on the news? If you weren't living here and you were living in another country, were the changes that were happening in the U.S. impacting the things going on in your country? Any questions? No? Okay, now I also put on top of your table some yellow blank Post-it papers. And that's because not only do we want to highlight the big social justice movements on our timeline, we also want to highlight when you guys were born, right? And I want to be able to look at the timeline and see how the different generations and different ages merge into the different events that have happened in this timeline. So if you can just use one sticky to put your birthday and where you were, or where your parents were when you were born, or where you grew up, right? Where was your childhood? Yeah.
¿Puedes hacerlo en español?
Sí. So, también puse en sus mesas un papelito amarillo. Ese papelito también es para nosotros aprender un poco más sobre ustedes personalmente. Queremos no solamente llenar esta lista de historia de momentos sociales, pero también queremos identificar cuándo nacieron ustedes y en qué época vivieron. Si pueden poner en ese papelito el año que nacieron y dónde estaban viviendo, o sus padres dónde estaban viviendo, o dónde se criaron. Así podemos ver todas las diferentes generaciones y cómo se puede mezclar en esta línea. ¿Ok? ¿Preguntas? ¿No? Ok, voy a poner un poco de música. Pero los jóvenes aquí también se van a mover, algunos van a estar acá, ¿verdad? Y otros se van a mover acá. So our youth at this table are also going to move around. Some of them are going in this table. You guys can start moving now, and a few other ones will be moving into this table. And we'll keep the music on so you guys have some music in the back. Thank you.
right there too?
Yeah, I was born in Miami.
Let's
My father was,
let's move forward over here so you guys can be a part of the conversation too.
so I'm about 40. What's
Get
up?
closer to the camera.
My father was Cuban imported.
So, how did you guys like this activity? Was it good? Yeah? Did you get to talk amongst the table and get to know one another as you were trying to figure out the different events that happened? Okay. Can I go around and just ask a few people to share some of the conversations you had or some of the highlights? I know there was conversation around, wow, I didn't know my birthday was also the same year that this happened. And so just a few things, popcorn style, whatever you guys want to share about the conversations you had or what you found out through the timeline. Jeffrey, you want to?
Sure. Yeah, we talked a bit, and I remember where is he? Alex. Oh, there he is. Alex over there. I think he was he shared that he was born around like the Nixon era of the in the 70s, and we talked a little bit about him and kind of the parallels of the situation going on today. So.
Yeah.
So it's rather fascinating.
Yeah, right. There's a lot of things that we can also identify similar to some of the stuff going on today. A lot of similar issues and things like that.
Right.
You want some water? Yeah. Oh,
It's open.
no, it's open. Someone went to go get you water.
I'm sorry.
It's okay, no worry. Anyone else wants to share about anything they found interesting or an interesting conversation they had? No? What about you guys back there? Any conversations in the tables you had? Anything interesting about where you guys are in the timeline?
Their point of view was different than our point of view.
Raise your voice.
Their point of view was different.
That's right.
There was different points of views in the conversations. And then is there something interesting about the timeline and where sort of you guys landed on the timeline? As in your birthdays?
Well, our birthdays are like all close together, and then the rest are like spread it out.
Yeah.
So that's different.
So, Josefina nació en el 1942. So, Josefina was born in 1942. We thought she was the oldest, but no, Danny Cool was born in 1941. And she was born in Mexico. So, that was a very different time.
Interesante. Gracias por compartir tu historia, Josefina. Anyone else have something interesting too that they want to share yet?
The greatest time of any American's life was the 1960s.
The 60s.
That's when people woke up and they said, this country belongs to people.
Yes.
And we had all the women's liberation movements, we had the anti-war movement, we had all kinds of movement for social justice. And it came from the young folks.
Yeah.
Change. We shall have change. And a lot of us got beat up pretty bad at those things that, you know, the cops didn't like it if you had long hair. That meant you were a hippie, which means you're an enemy. And at times, if you had long hair, they did what they call, the cops did what they call planting, which meant, in those days, marijuana give you 20 years for just having a little bit. And they take marijuana and stick it in your pocket and arrest you for possession of marijuana. That's what we had to put up with. Things like that, getting beat up with a long hair. Oh, that was, whew. Yeah, but we hung in there. We hung in there. And those of us who went through it ought to be very proud of ourselves because we helped make America. You talk about making America great again? Let's go back to the 60s.
Dad, thank you so much for sharing. What's your name again?
Johnny Cool.
Johnny Cool. Okay. Anyone else want to share anything? No? Okay. Well, then I want to thank you all for participating in this activity. I'm so glad that there's so many great stories that we were able to hear through those of you who have experienced in those times. And I think the idea today was to honor Martin Luther King Jr. with the fact that we have two generations that are coming together, learning from one another to build the future, right? So thank you so much. And we hope that we can celebrate with you guys again next year. So quiero darle las gracias a todos por hacer esta actividad con nosotros. El objetivo creo que ya lo pudimos llegar, y era que estas dos generaciones puedan hablar juntas y tratar de enseñarse uno al otro las diferentes batallas que hemos tenido que hacer. Y también cómo el Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. pudo ayudar en esas batallas en los tiempos de antes, pero también cómo podemos aprender y crear el futuro. Así que muchas gracias y espero que podamos celebrar otra vez el año que viene.